This is Gemara Avodah Zarah Daf Nun Beis, and we're holding on Nun Aleph Amid Beis, and we are at the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah on the bottom of Nun Aleph Amid Beis. Avodah is kachavim shahayu la gina. An Avodah Zarah that had a garden or a merchatz, or a bathhouse. Nanim mehem shaloi v'taiva. One is allowed to benefit from them without giving any money to those who house this Avodah Zarah. Ve'einen b'taiva. However, you cannot benefit with them for paying for that. Hayu shalah v'shalah chayrim. If the garden belonged to the idol and to others, then bein b'taiva bein shalai b'taiva, so that's called benefiting from the Avodah Zarah. Asura miyad, and Avodah Zarah of a guy is also right away. But if a Yid owns an Avodah Zarah, it's only asur when it's actually utilized in service. Amar Abaye, what does the Mishnah mean when it says that you cannot use the garden, the bath of Avodah Zarah? B'toiva, Amar Abaye, b'toiva. B'toivas kaimrim. What does it mean with consideration? It means the consideration of the kaimrim, of the priest. Similarly, when the Mishnah says you could get benefit, shaloi b'toiva, what does that mean? Shaloi b'toivas kaimrim. It says Gemara, what exactly, Abaye, are you coming to teach us? La'afuke toivas oivadia dishari, which means to exclude consideration to those who worship this Avodah Zarah. That would be mutter. We're now worried if he who works by the Avodah Zarah, if they get some level of auxiliary benefit. Those that learn this on the Seifa, Yeshalah, V'Shalach Eirim. The Mishnah said the garden, the bath belong to the Avodah Zarah and to others. What does B'Taiva mean? Toivas achirim, then you can get benefits. Shloi b'toivas kaimrim. So man demasti asifa, then kol shkin areisha. It's the same halacha. Man demasti areisha, but asifa kimedika achirim bahada. Then afilu b'toivas kaimrim na mishabri tami. You would even be mutter a chiddush. The one who learned it on the reisha, a chiddush, that in the case of the seifa, you would even be allowed to allow the kaimrim to get benefit from it. We continue the 2 dots, 12 lines of the bottom of Chavim. Asura miyad, an idol belonging to Avodah Zarah, is asur miyad. Mastisan mani Rabbi Akiva hidetanya. Abeit avdon es kol hamekayim asher avdu shamagayim bekil shenisham shelavedes chavim. What is this referring to? These vessels that are worshipped for Avodah Zarah. Kos medaber. Yachal masom v'loy gamrom v'loy aviyom v'loy nishtam shubam. If it's not fully complete and utilized, it's created or it's not, its meat is not completed, it's completed, but it's not brought to the Avodah Zarah, it's brought to the Avodah Zarah. But it's not actually utilized in the service of the Avodah Zarah. Yachal ye asurim, tamalei mar she'avdu shama agayim she'ina asurin ad she'avdu. Till it's actually used in the service. Mikan amur v'er, we learn out of his chavim shel his chavim. Eina asura shetavid, but shall Yisrael asura miyad divrei Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Kiva, I hear 4 lines of Avodah. Switch it around. Avoid this chav, that's asura miyad. Shall Yisrael shetavid. Only once you utilize it in the worship, in the service of the Avodah Zarah. And that's the machlekes of Yishmael and Rabbi Kiva, elaborating on the din in our Mishnah. Amar Mar continues the Gemara. Bekilim shenisham v'los chavim. Hakasa midaber. The pasuk is talking about vessels that are utilized in the service of Avodah Zarah. But how can it mean it's about the kelim hamikoymos? It says the places. Explains the Gemara. Mystery can't be referred to the places. Why? Because the places never become asur. That only the Avodah Zarah itself is asur, but not the place and which was served. Therefore, says the Gemara, as we turn over to Nun Beis Amud Aleph, therefore, Taneo Indian, let's apply it to where? Lekelim. Mikana Amru Avodah Zarah Ina Surah. So we learn out from Ella Ad Shetavod. But V'Shal Yisrael, if it's belong to Yed Miyad, it's going to be Aser. Ask the Gemara about Kilim Kibnullah. We're talking about Kalim. So how does the Yishmael say anything about the idol itself? Explains the Gemara. Amar Kra Shartem Yershim Oisam Es Aloyehem. Makish Aloyehem the Kalim. The two are the same. Makilim Achavdu Av Aloyehem. Nami Achavdu. That's only going to be also when it's actually utilized in service of the Avodah Zarah. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Kiva, according to Shitas Rabbi Kiva, that what? Delay Makish doesn't have this akish. Amrlacha es hifseka inyan. The word have splits up the topic that it's not all one and the same. Says the Gemara of Rabbi Yishmael. What does he hold? Ashchan v'tzchavim shal v'tzchavim. The eina surah shetavoid. The Israel, the Asur miyad minali. Where does he know that if it's long to Yid, it's also right away? He says, Mar svaru. Medayvid akhavim ad shetavoid. The Israel Asur miyad. Aim the Israel klal. Like maybe it's not also at all. Hashta, says the Gemara. Geniza baya. It's like Misra. So we can learn how that what? That there's a din geniza, middle level. You have to bury it, but it does not become fully aser. Says the Gemara, ve'ema, but let us suggest, kide oived kechavim, that the idol belonging to a yid is aser. Why don't we say, if it's belonging to a guy, it's going to be the same thing. That's going to be aser when? After it's utilized, after it's serving Avodah Zarah. Amar Krav es chataschem asher asisem es ha'egel mishas asiya kam li b'chet. For the pasuk we learn that it's only b'dat mishas asiya, the time that it's made, that's when it's going to be kam le b'chet. Says Mara, 1 second. Ema honey really 8 lines to the bottom of the makem gavra b'chet yisura alay misar. Maybe what the fact that we call a yid being oived, that's not going to be aser l'shur l'isar. Amar kra eder ha'isha yasa pesel mazicha. From there, the extra pasuk we learn out. Shas asiya, the time that is made, kam le ba'arer, is going to be this curse. Ema hani mila make him gavra ba'arer, but isra loy misar. Maybe it's not actually aser. So in Gemara, Tevas Hashem he. That's what's going to be aser. Rabbi Akiva, but according to Rabbi Akiva, the asura miyad minale, an idol belonging to a guy which is indeed aser miyad. Where does Rabbi Akiva know that from? Explains the Gemara. Amar Ula says Ula Amar Kra, says the pasuk Basile Elohim from Beish, the God of the image of your God, should be burnt in fire. Mishe paslu nasu eloika, says the Gemara. What do we learn out from here? That for the time that it is pislu, it's created as an avodah zarah. Nasu eloika becomes a god, meaning it's going to be aser. Says the Gemara. Ve'idach, what does Rabbi Yishmael say? Tani Rabbi Yosef. Tani Rabbi Yosef minayim nakum shepaisal aloyam. Shenemar, from where do we know that a guy is able to nullify his idol? A topic we've spoken about many times. We learn from a pasuk, V'silei Elohim tishavon ba'esh. Ve'edach was Rabbi Kiva saying, "Nafli with the Shmuel, the Shmuel Rami. Shmuel asked the Sira, Ksev lo yisach l'kesef v'zav aleihem, uksev l'kach l'lacha." So says the Gemara, asked Shmuel, what do we do with the stira? That you're allowed to take the gold and silver, but you're not allowed to desire the gold and silver. Leisach moed. Haketzad pislu leika leisach moed. But pislu mei eloika v'lekachta lecha. If you carved it into a god, then you can't. It's aser. But if you nullified it from being a god, then it's going to be mutter. Says the Gemara, so that's each opinion of the other. Rabbi Akiva. What does Rabbi Akiva say back? Ashkechan, the Asura, Miyad, the Israel, and where we know that this item belonging to Yid, that it's only usher once it is actually served. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Krav Visham Ba'Seiser. Says Rav Yehuda, and you should place it in secret. From there we learn it out. Until you do things that are seiser, that are secretive, meaning till you actually utilize the item in worship. Ve'edach. And what does Rav Yishmael say? Rav Yitzchak, Amar Rav Yitzchak, Minayim ne'akum shal Yisrael shatuna geniza. Shenemar v'sham ba'seiser ve'edach naflim b'der Rav Chisda Amar Rav. Where does he learn it out from? Amar Rav Chisda Amar Rav, ma mina v'zcham she'yisrael shatuna geniza. Shenemar lo sita lecha ashera kol eitel mizbeach. Ma mizbeach ton geniza v'ashera ton geniza ve'edach. And what does Rabbi Yishmael say? One second, the highlighter just went crazy, excuse me. Says Reish Lakish, if you appoint a dayan which is inappropriate, you might think, okay, no. So he's not the greatest dayan. Says where no, it's not a new, it's as if you planted an Asherah tree. Shenemar sheitiv sheitim l'chabachol sharecha. V'samach lei near to that pasuk. What does it say? Lo sitcha asherah kol eitz. Amar Rav Ashi b'makol talmidei chachamim kilu natua eitzel mizbeach. Adds on Rav Ashi that if you put a dayan she'ino yahagun in a place where there are talmidei chachamim, then it's as if you planted this asherah near the mizbeach. Shemar eitzel mizbeach. Says the Gemara, Bai Rav Hamnuna. So we have a Shaila. We're about 25 lines to the bottom. The first word in line is Natu Eitzel Mizbeach. Bai Rav Hamnuna asks Rav Hamnuna, Rei Ritich Kli Lavodis Chavim. So in Saturn, he repaired a vessel for the sake of an Avodah Zarah. Mao. Avodah Chavim man. Says the Gemara. Let's understand what's going on over here. What Avodah Zarah are we asking about? If we're asking about an idol belonging to a guy, what's the Shaila? Ben the Rav Yishmael, Ben the Rav Akiva, Misham she'akum hein. They're items utilized in service. Misham she'akum ein asurun ad she'yavoid. Auxiliary items in service to Avodah Zarah are only asur when she'yavoid. In the Israel says the Gemara. So what must it be referring to? Must refer to the idol of a yid. So Aliba Diman, Eliba, Elim, Rabbi Kiva, Hashti, Gufa, Rabbi Kiva says the idol itself is not also Rachatavoid. Misham Shemi Boy, we're gonna have a Shiloh. What's with items serving that? Well, I'll leave Rabbi Yishmael. We're asking Rabbi Yishmael, Damar Asura Miyat. My, what's the Shiloh? Misham Shem Gamrinan. Do we learn out one for the other? But again, it's not the idol itself. So it won't be us until you actually serve that Avodah Zarah. Mahi, just like the Avodah Zarah itself is Asura Miyad. Asura Miyad. So we have a klar shayla according to Rabbi Yishmael. Says the Gemara, Maryam. Why are you asking this kasha regarding Reitach Kli? If you started a Kli, also, why don't we ask a shayla regarding? Am I allowed to make when a vessel, is made for Avodah Zarah? So says the Gemara. Okay, if that was the shayla, what is the shayla? Such a shayla could be asked based on the premise of Tuma Yeshana of old Tuma. Titanan Klimat Achais. A metal vessel. The flatware, or that which has a base kibble, something that could hold something, is tummy. Nishtabru tara. If they're broken, then it's tar. Chazal vasahu kli. If you go and you rebuild it into a kli, if you go and you rebuild it back into a kli, yachzuru letama leshana, reverts back to its old tama. With that in mind, This is the Shaila of the Gemara. Ki Adra Tama, when the Tama comes out, do we say that's only on the biblical level? There's no difference. Why don't we ask the Gemara about all other Tamais? Dirabanan. Says the Gemara, we are. Chada migoy chada komi baile. One on the base of another. Toma derabanan mi hadra. Do we say that Toma derabanan does come back after it's repaired? If you're going to tell me it does not, Toma da'akum mishum chomer da'akum mishavya. Is the Toma of a guy come along because of that? Rabbanan ketuma de'oiraisa. And on that level, says the Gemara, once we quantified precisely what the Shaila is, says the Gemara, we got to wait for Mashiach for this Shaila. The tekrayves avedus chavim, the foods offered to an idol, what is the halacha? Mimahaniyalu bitol l'tarenu mitama oy loy. Does nullification help to purify it from tama or not? Again, food, what is its status? As we've just finished discussing auxiliary aspects, now we move on to food that is utilized in serving the idol. Says Gemara, Kelim asks about the Kelim themselves. Says the Gemara, Kelim come in. That's not a shayla. Kelim the islay tahar, but make me quick the tar. Tomanami batla sefer. Of course, it can be batal. Ki kami bayile, and the last line eichlen v'ti bayile avodas chavi gufei avodas chavi gufei loy mi bayile. Says the Gemara, so we're asking about the food. Now you want to know, what about the idol itself? Let's say you made an idol out of food. What is its status? Says the Gemara, no, that shayla we don't have. As we turn over to Nun Beis and Al Beis, again, an idol that is comprised of food. Why not? Says the Gemara, Nun Beis and Beis, given the Isura Batal, since the idol's Isser is Batal when it's nullified, Tomanami Batla. So he kami bayale dafka with the food served to the idol. Tikrayves avodas chavim shaloichlin mai. What's the halacha? Kim dasur loy batal k'Rav Gidol tominami loy batal. The food won't be batal. Oidam, or perhaps isur daraisa loy batal, but toman derabanan batal. And says Gemara again, we have to wait for Mashiach. Bai minei Rav Yosi ben Shaul mei Rabbi. 6 lines down in Beis and Beis, Kilin Shishim Jaban Beis, these Chainav vessels that are used in the temple of Chainav Ma'u Sheishtab and Beis HaMikdash. Kami Vayle says, leaving down Beis Chainav La Beis Avodas Chavimi. Even if you hold the Beis Chavav is not Avodah Zarah, we still could ask it's nan. Kayani Shishim Beis Chainav Lo Yisham Shu Mikdash Shavi Yishalayim. Vein Zar Leimer L'Davar Acher. So why don't we ask, according to that shita, even if it's not a base of Avodah Zarah, you let it bring it into the base of Hamikdash, these items. Says the Gemara, Kayanim udekan sinon rabbanon misham dibnei deyaninu. Says the Gemara, when it comes to Kehanim who served in Beis Chanyai, lo yishamshu mikdash v'yishalayim. Excuse me, I skipped the line backwards. Kayanim dibnei deyaninu. Says the Gemara, Kohanim, since they have das, they did the wrong thing, they got a knas, avol kelim loy, oidilma loy shena, that is the shayla. So Amar Lei responds the Gemara, asurim hein, umikra haya. Says the Gemara, it's aser, we used to have a mishnah, we forgot it. So Esvei asked the Gemara, says the pasuk like kelim, shares niachem elachachas b'melchusa b'malach hanyai hachanai viktashnoi ma'ila v'echenu devatzlenu is mevatalit haktishanu. What does it mean? Dekachenu, that we consecrated it. So says the Gemara, what do we see? We see that midrabanan we do not say it's aser. Amar Lei responds Rabbi, Baruch atol hashamayim, blessed are you to heaven, shachzar to the avodas, you returned my loss to me. However, he refers to Shekoin Zivik Teshenu Shekdishanu. Is that you sanctify them, Acherim Tachteim, others in their place. So says the Gemara, okay, let's bring a raya to what we just said. Lema Misayeh Alei Mizrach Esfain is Baganzu Beis Chashmanai. Mizrach Esfain is the northeastern chamber that's opened up into the Beis HaMaikad. Baganzu Beis Chashmanai is Avnim Zech Shekitzu Anshe Yavin. The Chashmanayim hid the stones in this Beis HaMikdash. V'amar Rav Shishas, and teaches Rav Shishas says, what does that mean? It means that they utilize the Mizbeach for Avodah Zarah, the Yavanim. And therefore, says the Gemara, we see that it's Asr even though it doesn't have Das. Amar Rav Papa, Hasam Kara Ashcha V'darish Techsev, Ubai Ba'brisa V'chalalua. Says the Pasik that there were preaching, there were breaches, and they profaned it. Maybe that's the reason. Ask the Gemara, what should we do in the Tavrinu? We should break them up. We need for the Beis HaMikdash. Nansirinu, we should make them, we should chisel them and smooth them out. Lo sanaf alayim barzi, you're not allowed to, Amar Rachmana. V'amai, he says, wait, the Tavrinu, v'shaklinu, v'nanav shayu. Why don't we break them up and then take the stone for ourselves? Don't use it in the actual mizbeach. Miloy Amar Avaishi, a big shillings of kol kli, kol kasev izav shabaylam misham kasev dedava shel Yushalayim. Vavina ba Yushalayim avi ruba d'alma. And therefore, it says more. Why don't we say the same thing? Allah Amar Abaye, big shulinga dinrayu. They wanted to hide their golden coins. Big shulings u dinara hidrayana turana shaifa minei tavish Yushalayim. But Hadrian went and Trajan went and created this dinner because of the fact that it was a coin in Yerushalayim. Ad until Shamatzlan Bikram and Atayra Shumater. Ubayba Pritzim. V'chalua. And people came and they profaned it. So we don't bring out the ring. So why not ask the Gemara, if you're able to use these coins, shouldn't it be the same thing of the stones of the Beis HaMikdash? Says Gemara, no. Hasam lo ishtamshu v'legavaya. Once it was utilized ligavaya, once it was utilized once, then it's inappropriate to break it down and utilize it for stam purpose. The coins were never, and that's the reason why they were able to use it as a stam purpose. Pick it up from the Mishnah, B'siyata Dishmai.